Hey guys, it's Core Ross and welcome to 6 News. So today we're looking at the designer notes for patch 3.2. So this is the mid-season patch, so it's a balancing patch. We no longer get the mid-season reinforcements, but we do get a mid-season kind of rebalancing of operators. And this is supposed to come out this month, so not much time at all for it to be released. And it's going to be interesting exactly when it does go live. Now they're going to do an AMA today, and I will report on any interesting information that comes out from that, because usually there's some juicy information, so we'll wait and see. I'll be back probably reporting that later. Now let's take a look at these graphs. So of course we've seen these before. These are the win rate delta per operator versus pick rate, and the information is based on ranked PC games, Platinum and Diamond only, and of course this is the Year 3 patch 3.0, so that is Grim Sky. So all this information is coming from the Grim Sky season. So we can see Sledge, I think he was in the center last time, and he's pretty much exactly the same spot as he was last time. And this is where they want operators to be, right in the middle here. So they're getting picked about 30% of the time, and their win rate is about 0. That's kind of where they want it to be. And that would mean that they're winning as many games as they're losing, and of course they're getting picked about 30% of the time, which would be a nice average. Whereas we can see Ash is out here getting picked about 70% of the time, but actually not winning that many games. However, we can see Blackbeard and Glaz up here winning a lot of games, but not getting picked that much. So the people that are playing them are probably just really good at using those operators in certain situations. And there's not too many like way down here, which is nice. And that's usually the case with attackers. The attackers always seem a bit closer together, whereas the defenders graph is like all over the freaking place. So it is interesting. We see Maverick here actually not winning that many games, but he's getting picked a decent amount at 40%. So right now I guess they're not planning to really nerf him, as far as we know anyway. Now moving on to the defenders, all over the shop. Rook is up here winning loads of games, which is crazy. I'm surprised to see him that high, and he's getting picked about 20% of the time. We've got Capcan apparently winning decently as well, but not getting picked that often. Legion's doing very good, and he's probably going to get nerfed because he's getting picked too much and he's winning too much. And I can see that. I like playing Legion a lot. He's a nice calm operator to play. You don't really have to think too much. Really love playing him. Nice casual player is Legion, I think. We've got Jaeger still getting picked a lot, but actually not winning that many. And we've got a bunch in the center, which is pretty good. So we've got Valkyrie here doing pretty good. Ella is actually doing really good, so they're probably not going to touch Ella. Even Echo doing okay. And they seem to have got Vigil under control. He's actually coming into the center too. So it's not too bad, but we can see, compared to the attackers are kind of close together. And then defenders are just freaking everywhere. But look at this, Tachanka down here, not doing so great. Castle not doing so great. But look at Clash. Not getting picked that much and losing a lot of games. And that's at Platinum at Diamond level. That doesn't look good for Clash, which is surprising to me because they're nerfing her pretty significantly, even though she's way down here. But yeah, she's getting nerfed pretty significantly, even though she's doing terrible by the looks of it. We can see that Mir needs a little buff. Even Smoke down here actually quite low. Maybe he'll get a little buff, and yeah, we'll see that in a minute. So upcoming changes for Clash. They're reducing the weapon swap speed between the shield and the sidearm. They're going to delay the refill charge. So it still charges up at the same speed, but there's a longer delay before it even begins to recharge. That should be pretty significant. And then of course we've got the attackers are going to go back to full mobility in 0.5 seconds, down from 1.5. I think that's going to be the biggest nerf. And it could be very hard for Clash to hold down anywhere without a lot of support. She's going to need someone, or at least a couple of people, helping her hold down areas. And yeah. So they say, we do recognize that Clash is currently not performing well in terms of win delta, and these changes may lead people to believe that we are nerfing an already underpowered operator. So I do kind of believe that. I can understand that she could be very powerful when teamed up correctly, but I think that she might lose a lot of the fun factor, and that will mean her pick rate are just going to fall like crazy. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We have made these changes to refocus Clash to fulfill the function that she was originally intended to perform and not to anticipate a major impact on general ranked usage or strength. It will be interesting to see how this kind of affects Clash in the future. So yeah, I'm curious about that. Yep. I don't know. I don't know if it's the right choice or not, but I do trust the developers, and I'm quite happy to see what happens. So ultimately, we believe that this will further drive the idea that Clash is reliant on teammates as opposed to an operator that can exist completely independently. She's not intended to be able to hold down half of the map by herself, and will now require the proper support of teammates to do so. So yeah, I'm curious because obviously when we look at this graph, it is Platinum and Diamond, so we're talking coordinated teams. And Clash isn't doing good in coordinated teams. I'm really worried that her pick rate is going to go down and her win rate is going to go down from where it is. Because if Platinum and Diamonds aren't managing to win with her, then I would think she's not that great. And if she's getting nerfed, I think she's going to drop out of favour with Platinums and Diamonds already. So then we've got Maestro. So they're going to change how his recoil works on his LMG. And from reading this, it specifically is about the hip fire. So he has a unique hip fire with his LMG, which means the longer you fire with that LMG, the smaller the reticle actually gets. It doesn't get bigger like you would normally see. It actually gets smaller. So the longer you hold down the button when you're hip fire, not aiming down sights, then the more accurate you would become. Of course, in Rainbow Six Siege, you're probably dead before you even do that. So it's not exactly a big thing. And they talk about how this was confusing to players. It's going to make it just work like a regular LMG. I don't really know if this is a nerf or a buff, really. It's probably not much of a change and you're not going to notice it. And I would think it's probably just really, you're going to go on by and not notice at all. So then we have the SMG-11. This puppy's getting a buff. So reducing recoil to improve handling. This is interesting. So following the weapon sight misalignment fix that came with Operation Grim Sky, we saw that it had a significant impact on smoke and mira, which is interesting. As such, we are tweaking the recoils values of the SMG-11 to give smoke a bit more viability when using the weapon. So yeah, nice little buff. Of course, the SMG-11 has had multiple nerfs and is now getting a buff. So there we go. Now moving on to the Vector, because of course we just talked about smoke and mira here, and this is the same kind of thing. They're reducing the recoil and improving handling for the Vector. So mira is getting herself a little buff. So again, a very good weapon this is, just like the SMG-11, and it's getting a slight buff. So yeah, it's basically exactly the same thing. With the Grim Sky, they thought that it got a little bit too uncontrollable, and they're now making it even better again. So yeah, a little buff for the SMG-11 and the Vector, really good. Now we move on to the current status. So this is them kind of looking forward into the future. So let's start with Lion. So this is quite amazing for me to read actually, is basically they're saying that Lion since his release has just been a big problem for them. Not just for players, but for them as well, and they're still trying to figure out how to fix them. And it sounds like they still haven't decided what they're going to do. So we have a designer that is currently testing a pair of separate possible short-term solutions. So one adjustment would remove the intel gathering aspect of his gadget. That's the entire point of his gadget. So if that's going away, what would it do? Like, it would still be a drone flying in the air, but what the hell would it actually do? So I'm curious about this. Seriously curious about this, but that might not be what they actually go for, and instead they may go for a Jackal style ping rather than the outline. I don't know if this would really solve the problem. Like, to be honest, I think the outlines look cooler, and just giving them a ping would, you'd still be able to do the same thing. You still shoot through walls at people, so I don't know if it'd really change that much. But I guess, although the outlines are like in real time, I guess the pings might come every few seconds, so maybe that would actually be harder to shoot people. Maybe that would work. But then also, why not just go with the outlines and have them ping every couple of seconds so you can still move, but you're just not giving them totally accurate information. But anyway, this is dramatic. We're talking about a gadget can be completely changed, like entirely. If they go with the removing the intel gathering side of things, then that would just be a completely different gadget. It would be the Lion changing to another operator, basically. So I can't wait to see what actually happens. Now, this, of course, is not coming with this patch. So we're still talking something like it could be next season. It could be next season's mid-season patch, or it could be when Morocco launches. Who knows? But yeah, curious to see what happens. And I'm guessing we may see these in the test server. Maybe we'll see one or the other at some point, and we might actually get to test it ourselves. But I'm just amazed at that. Next up, we have Glaz. So Glaz apparently is a bit like Lion. So they say, much like Lion, we are not happy with Glaz in his current state. And they talk about how they want to go back to the idea of him being someone that holds down like a line of sight with a high-powered rifle, which is exactly what we kind of all want, I would guess. Like, I think players do want Glaz to be a powerful sniper. You know, someone who can hold down a long corridor or something like that. And right now he's not really that good for that. So yeah, be interesting to see how this changes, but they don't really give us a clue of how they might change him. So much like the Lion changes, we will be performing additional play tests internally with pro players and plan to share more details in the future test server or designer notes entry as it draws closer to going live. So again, that's a future thing. Could be a season away. Like this whole, everything in here could be like a season or two away. So we just have to wait and see. So yeah. There's, I don't know. It's an interesting update. We still don't have a release date for this. It's supposed to go out this month, but who knows when. We just had 3.1 just come out on PC, but it's being skipped on the consoles. So we're going to get, the console update will be 3.2, but we don't know when that's coming out. The changes are interesting, like especially looking how bad Clash is doing overall. Like she does seem to be a very underpowered player, and especially when you consider that it's diamonds and plats who are playing in coordinated teams, and she's doing that crap, it makes me think she's just not good. And I can understand these nerfs because it nerfs her power by herself. You know, especially this one here makes Clash far less viable as a solo player. But these two definitely reduce her ability to hold down with her teammates, I think. I don't know how it's going to go. I really don't. I think Clash might get a bit fucked over. But I don't know how they fix her if they're having such an issue with her. Maestro's change, I think no one's going to notice that. I think the SMG-11 and the Vector are very good buffs, and you'll probably notice that. And of course, the Lion and Glaz ones won't be coming for ages. I'm going to guess that they're probably more than a season away. So there we go, guys. That is the designer notes for 3.2. Thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you next time.